Hello, my name is Anthony Serio. I am the head of the Gilbert School and its superintendent. Welcome to Founders Day in honor of William L. Gilbert, who was a 19th century industrialist and philanthropist who started the Gilbert School. I'd just like to mention that this is our 125th anniversary, and I think it is fitting that we will be graduating from the green right across from the original building that opened in September of 1895. A little bit about our founder. Mr. Gilbert was born in 1806 in Litchfield, and he became a clockmaker in 1828. He joined with his partners in 1841, Ezra Baldwin and Lucius Clark. They had purchased a factory on North Main Street. Not only engaged in clock manufacturing, but also banking, and he was a representative to Connecticut's legislature from 1848 to 1868. As we all know, not only did he establish this particular school, but also the Gilbert Home for friendless orphans. He died in 1890 while visiting his nephew in Canada. Gilbert Clock Company was formed in Winsted, Connecticut on July 5, 1871, to take over the Gilbert Manufacturing Company, 1866 through 1871, which had been dissolved after a fire destroyed the factory. This was not only a tragedy for the community, and it was not the first tragedy that Mr. Gilbert had suffered. Both his wives had passed, and so didn't several children. It might help us understand why he had such affection for orphans. At the same time that Mr. Gilbert was establishing his factory, Louise de Morte, a free woman of African American descent from Virginia, was sensitive to the plight of the children in her area of Louisiana who were orphaned due to the Civil War. She secured adequate accommodations for an orphanage, and her efforts were successful. The orphanage, a large mansion on an esplanade that had been abandoned during the war, became that home. Racial tension and resentment forced them to have to move out of the former Confederate mansion. Louise de Morte began to raise money, and with the help of the Methodist Church, the orphanage was relocated to Baldwin, Louisiana in 1867. The home started to accommodate children's educational needs, and in 1875 opened a seminary in the same campus in Baldwin. The Latesh Seminary was the name given to the orphanage school and the neighboring higher education facility. The school complex continued to grow in spite of funding problems and had plans to continue operating until a hurricane in late 1870 devastated the already financially strapped school and orphanage. At this point, the seminary was forced to close because of the financial difficulties. State support had been denied the school, and during this economical depressed period, private support was scarce. But a bright spot came in early 1880s when a wealthy philanthropist from Connecticut, W.L. Gilbert, gave the school $5,000 to rebuild the campus. He later contributed another $5,000 for a building that was named Gilbert Hall, and in his will donated another $40,000 to the school. A few years later, in 1884, after the campus reopened, it was renamed Gilbert Academy in honor of his support. Gilbert Academy was incorporated into New Orleans University in 1919. New Orleans University, along with Straight College, were the two higher education institutions for Black Americans in Louisiana during this period. After more than 60 years in Baldwin, Louisiana, the school was relocated to New Orleans. In 1935, Gilbert Academy occupied a site vacated by New Orleans University on St. Charles Avenue for the next decade. Gilbert Academy had grown from being an orphanage for Black American children from the Civil War period to a premier private school for Black Americans in the city of New Orleans. These are the stories that I wanted to tell regarding Mr. Gilbert's philanthropy. It is clear that he had education at heart and also the needs of young orphaned people. It wasn't just the Gilbert home, it wasn't just the Gilbert school. It was also this Gilbert Academy and the great work of Louise DeMotte to continue this educational opportunity for these young orphan children after the Civil War. I hope that you will remember Mr. Gilbert today as we celebrate Founders Day. And I want to thank you very much for listening to these comments. And happy 125th anniversary, Gilbert School. And I look forward to our graduation night.